Then the next thing I think was really exciting is instead of thinking about large language model, think about small language model, specifically about edge. Again, I know I'm sure all of you guys have used like the Anthropics, the Googles, the OpenAI, like all these, right? And they're really, really exciting thing. But those often it's just not practical when you get to the edge where the internet on and off, electricity. The good news is there's a whole suite of AI models is designed to let you operate on the edge. You don't need to have this sort of big internet and so on. Again, there's many methods. You can go to places like Hugging Face and so on, endless number in there. So the way I want to think about there's a separate thing you can be that's useful now. The way I want to think about it is that you should definitely use like Google, Anthropic, all these things, but I don't think they're sustainable because if you look at their business model, they're losing money every time you use it. If you were to deploy this in your country, what they go do is they will have a business model that get you hooked, low price. Soon you operate at scale. The bill for that would be so expensive. Like you have even like Microsoft, right? They told all the employees, please stop using AI. It's too expensive. This is Microsoft, right? So I guess this was it. But instead of doing that, do small language edge model. Those are typically about 100 to 1,000x less expensive to operate. And that's a model you want to explore. Then in terms of the things to watch out now is that my hunch is the first wave of AI is the Anthropic, the open AI in there. People know it's too expensive. I believe the second wave is coming. You can see the second wave is really inexpensive. Now you can actually deploy AI without strong internet, even the internet is unstable.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chen. And it's really interesting. I mean, I'm glad you mentioned the whole idea of having a foundation, your EMR. Lots and lots of people think, in order to create an EMR, you have to invest tons and tons of money. But the reality is it's a database. It's just, it's the data set you need. And there are lots of, innovative ways to launch EMRs without having to break the bank. So thank you for that. The next question is to Dr. Melisi. There's a warning, and again, thank you so much, Dr. Chen, for bringing up the fact that we don't have to spend lots and lots of money to realize the vision. There's a warning that we're building the penthouse while the foundation crumbles, deploying flashy AI data power and before power and skills are ready. The numbers sharpen it. Under 30% of African health facilities have reliable electricity, and low EMR adoption means scarce local data to train on. And yet, Dr. Melisi, you've built systems that actually reach 25 million people. So you would know what that foundation has to look like. From your work scaling across 155 plus districts and more than 6,500 facilities, what foundations in your mind must be in place before AI? And how do you sequence the work so it actually sticks rather than becoming another stranded pilot?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. First of all, thank you to joining this fantastic panelists. This is a great honor. I think the penthouse metaphor is right, but it lets us like off the hook. It implies so we just pour the foundation and wait. So in real life, I think the health system is the main foundation, which is not concrete, like you have mentioned, connectivity issues. Internet is not really reaching the whole population. So the health system that would allow you to reach millions at a time is not that concrete yet. So I think what has to be working is building that, bringing that ownership to the very beginning. Even before bringing data, talking about data, as the government who is going to adapt the technology has to own it. For example, as a result of this effort, we made a review of literature about the penetration of AI in Africa. And it turns out to be about 5% of nearly about 120 AI applications that has been penetrating Africa, were actually the one that can make change to the system. So why the remaining 96% are failing? One, it's ownership. Two, it doesn't really understand the context. When it comes to the application, it doesn't really take the context into account. And these kind of initiatives stop when the grants stop. So in my experience of developing digital tools, which reached actually about 22 zones and 158 districts, the approach that I followed is a little bit different. It's not like the conventional approach. It was part of a 1 million grant that I have got from Gates Foundation. And we're supposed to develop 2 digital tools that can help automate data sources for decision making. So what I did was, instead of bringing an NGO in the middle, every system was built within the government system. So the finance system was in the government system. So from the very start, we make sure the government understands its value. It understands it's built on the gaps that they see, that they face every day, and they have to welcome it. They have to own it. And including putting the finance within the government system so that they can make decisions and then set priorities. So that changed the whole approach. And it was like completely different from the conventional approach of projects in Africa. And as a result, the process actually took us a little bit more than what we expected. But that process paid off once the tools become mature and had to scale. So I think what comes down to is like, I don't think Africa doesn't have an AI shortage per se. But we don't have those kind of applications that can transform, because that transformation requires ownership, requires governance, requires audit. And then that's what tells even the review process that we have learned. So
Thank
I
you.
think, yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
Go sorry, in the interest of time, and we're actually going to address 2 critical points you bring up: accountability, transparency, ownership. Yeah. In the next question, but for the sake of time, I would love to go back to Dr. Akerele. Workforce, people are so critical. In the global rush, some employers cut staff to fund AI and quietly rehired, discovering that AI couldn't run without the people who held the institutional knowledge. In fact, a 2026 Gartner study of 350 executives found those cuts didn't improve returns at all. What happened with the winners is they redesigned roles and trained their people. And this is to what you said, Dr. Malissi, instead. So context in healthcare, context and judgment are everything. And that lesson is existential. So Dr. Runke, your remit is making the amazing NHS the best place to work, and your background is organizational change. How do leaders prepare and bring their workforce with them so AI augments their teams rather than hollowing them out?
Thank you, Yabo, for sharing for that question. Very important question, actually. I mean, my role as a national director in the NHS, my role is to responsible for the 1.6 million workforce, which is the largest workforce in healthcare across the world. And in doing that, I need to look at understanding that AI is not a technology transformation. It's actually a workforce transformation enabled by technology. And the evidence is really clear. Organizations are seeing real value. that serial value based on your research is not about quoting people. So for me, there are a few things that I put into perspective, either from my experience in the NHS and working globally as well, is that we have to anchor AI in purpose, not in cost. So it's not about the cost savings. It's really that we know that in healthcare, our greatest asset is our people. It's our institutional knowledge. It's clinical judgment. Is human connection, showing empathy when we look after people. So for us, leaders need to be more explicit. AI is here to augment all that, but not to replace it, really. And so we try to ensure that AI, in whatever initiatives we're doing, reduce administrative burden, free up time, allow staff to focus on what really matters. And what really matters is patient care and human interaction when it comes to the work we do. Secondly, I think we need to redesign rules, not just layer technology on top of a broken system, because some of our systems, our processes are broken. And this means only human beings can do that. I mean, only human beings can fix a broken system in terms of processes. Only human beings can show empathy, can make judgments, can look at complex decision making. And what AI can take away from us is really the repeated way of doing things, the time-consuming tasks. And if we do this well, really, clinicians are now spending more time with patients. We know because of AI, our patients are more informed when they come for, they've already gone on ChatGPT, Claude, and all that to understand their conditions. So gone are the days that our patients are not informed. So really, with that information, spending more time with clinicians is what really matters. And also thinking of new hybrid roles. We're looking at what are the roles that never existed, how can we redesign those roles. And I think really it's about we must invest more in people as much as we're investing in platforms. So AI literacy for everyone, so everybody is not fearful of AI, but have the confidence on AI. We need to be targeting upskilling some of our leaders and frontline staff. And critically, which we don't tend to do in my part of the world, I'm not sure about yours, we do a lot of firefighting, but we really need to protect time for people to learn because if they are not learning, then they wouldn't be able to adapt. So I think finally for me is about the code design is non-negotiable. AI systems imposed on staff will often fail, and those designed with staff will tend to succeed. And really, we just need to ensure that we must address the human factors. Change creates anxiety in everything we do. Change creates anxiety in job security, professional identity, loss of control. So leaders need to acknowledge this openly. We need to be transparent and support people through this role evolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Runke. I mean, we can't overemphasize the critical importance of bringing people along and aligning people in organization. Thank you for those incredible points. So the first half was about what AI can do, and this is about what keeps it trustworthy. The experts are blunt. Transparency and accountability have to be ongoing, not one-off, and ethical. AI demands active monitoring for bias and harm. So I'd like to put this question to the whole panel. Data governance, privacy, ethics, and security are the make or break layer for AI at scale. In your context, what does responsible deployment require in practice? And where is the gap most dangerous? And I'd love to start with Dr. Pimenta, then Dr. Chen, Dr. Melisi, and then Dr. Curley. So, Dr. Pimenta, thank you.
Dr. Yabo, so sorry to interrupt before the questions.
Oh, sorry.
I believe we have the ambassador on the line. We're wondering if you might want to say a few comments. Ambassador Arega, are you on the line, please? Okay, perhaps it's dropped off. If the ambassador is on the line, would you like to say a few comments?